What if I told you that the man who would become one of Rome's most famous leaders was not born into power, but rather rose from the ranks? That's right, we're talking about Julius Caesar. Born in 100 BC into a patrician family, Caesar's lineage was noble, yet far from the center of Roman political power. His family, the Julii, traced their roots back to the early days of Rome, but they were not among the elite who held sway over the Republic. Young Julius was educated in the manner of Roman nobles, learning rhetoric, philosophy, and the art of war. But his first steps into the political arena were not as a military hero or a powerful statesman, but as a young advocate in Rome's courts. These early experiences shaped his political savvy and set the stage for his future rise. So our journey begins with a young Julius, a patrician by birth, but far from the power and influence he would later command. But how does a young patrician climb the ladder of power in ancient Rome? The answer lies in the extraordinary life of Julius Caesar. Let's take a closer look at his rise to power, a journey marked by ambition, strategic alliances, and military prowess. Caesar's military career was pivotal to his ascendancy. His first significant military experience came during the siege of Mytilene, where his bravery earned him the civic crown, a highly esteemed Roman military decoration. This was just the beginning of an illustrious military career that would solidify his reputation as a formidable leader and tactician. Following his military successes, Caesar was appointed governor of Spain, a position that offered him wealth and prestige. However, it was his strategic handling of the province's economic and social issues that set him apart. His ability to balance the interests of Rome and the local populace demonstrated his adeptness in governance and diplomacy. Returning to Rome, Caesar was greeted by a city transformed by political upheaval. Recognizing an opportunity, he formed the First Triumvirate, a political alliance with two of Rome's most influential figures, Pompey and Crassus. This strategic alliance allowed Caesar to secure his position of power within the Roman political landscape. However, the triumvirate was not just a political maneuver, it was a reflection of Caesar's ability to navigate the complex web of Roman politics. He understood the importance of alliances and the power of public opinion. By aligning himself with Pompey, a popular military hero, and Crassus, the wealthiest man in Rome, Caesar positioned himself at the heart of Roman power. Yet, Caesar was not content with merely being a player in the political game. He used his position to push for reforms that improved the lives of Rome's citizens, further increasing his popularity among the masses. Riding on a wave of military success and popular support, Caesar was now one of the most powerful men in Rome, but the real challenges were yet to come. His ascent to power was a testament to his strategic acumen, military prowess, and his understanding of the human psyche. But as we will see, power comes with its own set of trials and tribulations. What happens when alliances crumble and a city turns against itself? Just as Rome was finding its feet in the wake of the power struggle within the First Triumvirate, a new conflict was on the horizon. The civil war that erupted between Julius Caesar and Pompey was a defining moment in Roman history. It was a war that began with the breaking of alliances. The once strong bond that held Caesar, Pompey, and Crassus together in the First Triumvirate had frayed. With the death of Crassus and Caesar's daughter Julia, who was also Pompey's wife, the ties that bound Pompey and Caesar were severed. The stage was set for conflict. Pompey, backed by the Senate, stood on one side. Caesar, with his loyal army, stood on the other. The battle lines were drawn in the sand of Rome, but this was more than a battle for power. It was a battle for the future of Rome itself. The war raged on for 4 long years, from 49 to 45 BC. Battles were fought across the breadth of the Roman Empire, from Spain to Egypt. Through it all, Caesar's strategic genius shone through. He outmaneuvered Pompey at every turn, culminating in the Battle of Pharsalus in Greece. Despite being outnumbered, Caesar's forces emerged victorious. Pompey fled to Egypt, where he met a tragic end. With Pompey's defeat, Caesar returned to Rome, a hero in the eyes of the people. The Senate had no choice but to acknowledge his victory. He was appointed dictator, a position that had previously been temporary in times of crisis, but was now made permanent. Caesar held absolute power. In the wake of the Civil War, Rome was a city transformed. Caesar's victory had shifted the balance of power irrevocably. The Republic was no more. In its place stood a dictatorship, with Caesar at its helm. With Pompey defeated, Caesar stood alone at the top. He was now the undisputed ruler of Rome. But what happens when power becomes absolute? And what legacy does a man leave behind when his life is cut short? The answer to this question lies in the story of Julius Caesar's assassination. On the Ides of March 44 BC, Caesar's life was abruptly ended. A conspiracy led by senators Brutus, Cassius and several others saw the dictator's reign terminated in a flurry of 23 stab wounds. His death marked a turning point in Roman history, setting off a series of events that ultimately led to the end of the Roman Republic and the beginning of the Roman Empire. Caesar's death had a profound impact on Rome. The initial joy of liberation from perceived tyranny quickly turned into chaos and civil war. The power vacuum left by his assassination was filled by his adopted heir Octavian, later known as Augustus. Octavian, alongside Mark Antony and Marcus Lepidus, formed the Second Triumvirate and avenged Caesar's death, defeating Brutus and Cassius in the Battle of Philippi. But the story of Julius Caesar extends beyond his death. His legacy continues to resonate throughout the annals of history. His reign as a dictator set a precedent for future Roman emperors, and his reforms, such as the Julian calendar, continue to influence our world today. Caesar's influence on the Roman Empire was monumental. His military strategies are studied in war colleges and his political tactics in universities. His life and death have been the subject of countless books, plays, and movies, immortalizing his name in popular culture. In the realm of leadership, Caesar's charisma, ambition, and strategic genius have been seen as the embodiment of effective leadership. His ability to inspire his troops and manipulate political situations has been analyzed and emulated by leaders throughout history. Despite his untimely death, Julius Caesar's legacy continues to shape our world today, from our calendar to our concept of leadership.